welcome to NatChat. I'm Mirella Rich. Today our guest is Rob Lunn, who has studied 3 years of archaeology and anthropology. He's also been in the Navy working on weapons in the past, and he's studied meditation. He runs meditation workshops and self-empowerment and self-improvement workshops and much more. Welcome to the program, Rob.
Thank you, Mirella. Thank you very much.
I hope I've summed it up enough. Or was there something else you want to add?
Well, I mean, the Navy, 9 years, that was when I was 15.
Yeah.
So that was
amazing.
Almost another lifetime ago, really.
Yeah. And so now you've gone from a complete different direction now, like you're in the Navy working on weapons.
I think indoctrinated into a system really in the Navy. You're in a system whereby you're being told what's real. You don't question it. It's all part, and that's why Defence Forces generally get people in at a young age.
Yeah.
You're young, you're impressionable, and it's a perfect time to mould you into what they like. So 9 years, I mean, when I joined the Navy, because I did an apprenticeship, 9 years was the minimum requirement.
Right.
So you become a product in a chain. So 9 years down the track, you are what they need you to be because they've moulded you from that young age.
Yeah.
And a lot of issues in the Defence Forces generally, of course, when someone walks up and tells you to do something, the pointed hat comes up and says, do this, your response isn't why, or can you give me a good reason, or whatever. It's,
please. Sir,
yes sir. No, that's the response they want, and that doesn't come natural to people. That needs to be indoctrinated in. No? And it boils down, you shoot that man over there. Why? What's he done to me? What's he done to my family? What's he done? No, I don't want that. It's, sir, yes sir. That's the response that they want. So you experience that firsthand, daily. I mean, 9 years of my life in that environment as normal. To me, perfectly normal. That's normal life. Then when you get out of the Navy 9 years later, I look at this world outside of that where now I'm free. Because, I mean, essentially while you're in the Defence Forces, you've got a job to do and you do it. People's lives depend on you doing your job every day. It's very tight network that you do your job. You don't question authority. You just do your job.
Yeah.
And so when I go out into the world of freedom, it hit me pretty hard that the brainwashing that we experience in the Navy or in Defence Forces exists in life as well, but they don't hide it. Well, hiding is probably not the right word, but it's more obvious. When you've been in an intense form of it for 9 years of your life, to then go into a less intense, generalised version of it, it's a lot more obvious.
And you've also studied things like self-empowerment and thinking for yourself. Can you elaborate on that and what you really mean by that?
Certainly. When you give yourself over to another's opinion, I mean, a classic example, when you see the word expert under someone's name, that the message is this person is telling you what's going on. And people today, although we live in an age where never before in the history of our species have we had so much access to so much information from so many different areas, people still blinkers, bottleneck opinions. You might have a choice of some mainstream options available to you, but if they're all telling the same story and they're all showing the same expert, and you accept their opinion without question, you're giving away your power. Now, 20, 30 years ago, we might not have had a choice. Okay, the local library, that was probably your option. Today, with the internet, there's absolutely no excuse for ignorance. If you hear someone giving an opinion that just doesn't quite sit right with you, or you have a different opinion, rather than going, oh, I was wrong, check it out. I mean, search engines, I mean, I remember I got on like early 90s was when I got onto the internet because I just, the research options, and it was a new field, I loved it, I dived straight in. But search engines quite, in the early days, required a bit of understanding in what you were doing and phrasing. But nowadays with things like Google, just type, if you heard a sentence, just type that whole sentence in, you'll get hits. If you spell it wrong, it'll say, did you mean this? It'll tell you how. There's no excuse nowadays for ignorance. If you hear something in a story, it doesn't feel right with you, it's just, and it niggles, it's from the heart, I guess you'd like. You think with your mind and you feel with your heart. And when you're processing information through your mind that disagrees with how you feel in your heart, it'll usually come out in the stomach.
Yeah.
If you feel that in the stomach, that's telling you that there's an imbalance between your mind and heart.
Yeah.
Get online, Google it, find out, get an alternate source.
Yeah.
Because reality is totally subjective.
Yeah.
There is no one version of reality.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? It's like people always say to you, if you've had an accident or something, what did the doctors say? It's like the doctors are God. They know. And if the doctors tell you something negative and you don't believe them and you don't even succumb to whatever they said you were meant to succumb to, but you do it on your own, then you're stepping outside the circle, you're taking a risk, and you're not listening to the doctors anymore.
You're ostracising yourself.
Yeah.
You're making yourself outside of the realm of normal.
Yeah.
See, everyone wants to be normal, but the problem is, who dictates what normal is? And if you want to be king of the world or queen of the world, all you have to do is dictate what's normal. And you don't need a police force either, because if someone's not being normal, your friends will soon pull you into place.
It's interesting, isn't it?
They'll make sure that because if you don't, you'll embarrass them.
Yeah.
So we're a very self-policing society as far as the realm of what's normal.
Yeah, because I had doctors say to me years ago when I had an accident that I will never walk again, you'll be in a wheelchair forever. And I was saying to them, no, I will, of course I will, I know I will. And even the occupational therapist was writing, strange, thinks she's going to walk, as if it was like an odd thing to even think, you know, that you should try, that you should think for yourself and you should try. And in fact, I am walking now, I mean, with crutches, but if I'd listened to them who were the experts, I wouldn't be.
Of course.
If I'd succumbed to them, I wouldn't be.
And you know what an expert is? Well,
What?
X is an unknown quantity and spurt is a drip under pressure. But when the experts tell you what's going on, if you disagree with them, you're wrong.
Yeah.
And they'll make no hesitation in telling you you're wrong.
They
Don't you know
rattled me.
who I am?
Yeah.
You know, and that's the image.
They-
And there's no excuse now. I mean, when you heard that, obviously you felt from your heart rather than your mind that this information was different.
Yeah.
Did you seek out alternative?
Yeah, I seeked out alternative people, and I remember I came across a guy who was a chef who said he'd been through an accident like me and he wanted to train me, and everybody practically I knew was, even the medical profession, and everybody was saying, don't work with him, he's a, who knows who he is, he's crazy, he's not a medical profession, he's not even a personal trainer.
He's not an expert.
And he was the one that got me walking out of the wheelchair. Well, I wasn't in the wheelchair then, I was in metal braces. Out of the metal braces, walking on my own legs, which everybody said, the doctor said I wouldn't do, and everybody believed the doctors.
Yeah.
And so I had no one really properly on my side encouraging me and believing in me. In fact, they were against me working with him.
Yeah,
And
pulling
he
you
was
back
one.
into the herd.
In the herd, yeah.
Pulling you back into
and
the herd.
even the doctors and one of the physios was shaking me, saying, can't you get it? You're going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. Get it.
Fear.
Like they were trying to make me really believe it.
Yeah.
Because I was scared. I was smiling. I said, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
It's interesting because with belief is your position on a scale. At one end of the scale you have fear, the other end is love.
Oh,
While you're
beautiful.
operating in the realm of love,
Yeah.
you are in total control. You're self-empowered
Yeah.
and you cause things to happen. When you're in the realm of fear, you are in victim state. You are in total effect of what's going on around you. You are the victim. And belief is where you are on that scale. Now, if you want to empower yourself, and that's what happens if you hear something like the doctors, no, this will never happen, you can't do this, and you hear it all the time. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm sure you've had conversations with other people with similar stories. Because in the circles that I move in these discussions with the workshops, I hear it all the time. People have come and said, I've been told this by the experts. The doctor said this. My school teacher said, you'll never amount to anything. The expert, the authoritarian, has put them, you will never. And I said, and I have. And
Beautiful.
It happens all the time.
We have to go to a break now,
Okay.
but we'll continue on this. It's
Absolutely.
really wonderful. You're watching NatChat. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly.